Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your HIMediaTV news update. I am your host, and the party is over for Russians in Sri Lanka after whites-only event fuels outrage. Oh boy. Okay. This is from Yahoo News by Nikhil Agarwal and Caroline Radomski. The party may be over for thousands of Russian tourists who moved to Sri Lanka amid the war in Ukraine, ideally to dodge the draft. Authorities in the South Asian island nation said this week that they were canceling long-term tourist visa extensions. They moved that coincides with an outrage over what appeared to be a whites-only event organized by a Russian-run nightclub in a popular resort town, but the debt-stricken island's president raised doubts on whether his government would go through with the cancellations, which would threaten a much-needed source of tourist income. Russian and Ukrainian tourists must leave Sri Lanka by March 7th after the expiration date of their final free visa extension, according to a notice issued by the Tourism Development Authority. The Immigration Department said last month that the visas were extended due to the non-operation of airlines in the region. However, President Pranal Wickremesinghe ordered an investigation into the notice, saying visas cannot be cancelled without cabinet approval. The government hasn't officially decided to revoke visa extensions previously granted to these tourists, he said on a post on Twitter. Trans rights, but it's okay to dead name Twitter. Facing sweeping travel restrictions on the Kremlin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago, many Russians flocked to Sri Lanka when offered near-indefinite stays. Russia became Sri Lanka's largest source of tourists after nearby India last year. Nearly 200,000 Russians and 5,000 Ukrainians visited the country of 22 million last year, official Sri Lankan tourism department data showed. It's unclear how many of those remained in the country beyond the usual duration of a tourist visa, which is 30 days, but thousands are believed to have remained, including those seeking to avoid being drafted into the military, and some have set up nightclubs and restaurants. It's also unclear whether the visa extensions related to the recent outcry. One of those nightclubs was at the center of the outrage over a planned party. A poster advertising a white party last weekend in the Sri Lanka Sarakia Lounge in Uluwantara, a coastal town about 3 miles from the southern tourist hub of Gale, specified a white dress code that is typical for such events, but the poster was shared widely on social media, as seen by NBC, that also included on it said base control white, drawing outrage from social media users who interpreted it to mean only white people could attend the event. 3 Russian DJs were expected to play the event, according to the poster. In a post on Instagram last Friday, the bar said it had canceled the event and will never support various racist statements and organizations. So I want to be very clear. I would not be surprised if the idea of a Russian-owned nightclub having a whites-only night at a place where 200,000 Russians have tried to escape being drafted into Vladimir Putin's boondoggle of a 3-day special operation in Ukraine that has gone on for 3 years at this point. I'm not surprised. Plenty of people have been just yoinked off the street, thrown with barely working firearms and sent to the meat grinder. But that's that. Sri Lanka as a country has been struggling since a dipshit food influencer went over to Sri Lanka, convinced their food minister, their agricultural minister, to switch to her pesticide-free, GMO-free bullshit, and basically sunk the cause of famine in Sri Lanka as a result. So obviously they're hesitant to kick these tourists out because they need the money, but also at the same time, the Russian state has fostered a white supremacist ideology that I'm not surprised that motherfuckers brought with them to Sri Lanka, because if you're able to afford to leave the fucking country, obviously, you're going to be a rich, out of touch asshole who genuinely, who especially if you grew up in an environment that fostered the white supremacist narratives. Honestly, I think it's very funny. I hope they get deported. Let them go into the meat grinder of Vladimir Putin's forever war, and freedom for Ukraine. That's that. Have a good one, everybody.